It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hi everyone, and thanks for joining The Sam Lesante Show. I'm here at the Cole Street Ice Rink in Wilkes-Barre, and this is the place, folks, where the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins practice. It's their facility. My guest today is their head coach, John Hynes. Now, this guy is the youngest coach in the American Hockey League, and I think today you're going to get a different perspective of what the coaches do and what hockey, how they look at hockey. First of all, John, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
I know you're a busy man here, getting all these guys ready for a great season. But every team, no matter what sports it is, you have a coach, and these are people that make it happen. You know, great coaches like Joe Paterno. You know, they know what they developed over the years. Hockey, John Hynes. Why did you become interested in hockey? When did you start? Give me a little bit of background on yourself.
Well, I grew up playing hockey. So my dad played hockey, and I wound up starting to skate when I was about 4 years old. And then it's always been a passion of mine when I grew up as a kid was to play. And you know, I played multiple sports, but you know, my passion was always for hockey as a player. And you know, I had some great experiences growing up with I had excellent coaches when I was a young kid in youth hockey, and my high school coach was excellent. And kind of when I was in high school, I had dreams of playing Division I college hockey, but in high school I had a coach that really impacted me. And at that point, I felt I wanted to, at some point in my life, be able to coach and teach at the high school level. And then I moved on and played at Boston University under Jack Parker, who was, you know, a legend in college hockey. And again, I had a tremendous experience, not only playing hockey, but being coached and developing relationships. And when I was done at Boston University, I wound up getting a graduate assistant coaching position there. And from there, I was able to translate not just the passion for playing, but the passion for the game, and then combining my desire to teach to be able to get into coaching at a high level. And again, you know, I would always go back to the impact of coaches that I've had throughout my career. I moved on from Boston University to USA Hockey, where I had a great experience with Jeff Jackson and Mike Eves, who are two Division I college hockey coaches at University of Wisconsin and Notre Dame, who really helped develop me as a young coach, just as far as your beliefs and teaching philosophies and how you do things. And from there, I was able to get a head coaching position with USA Hockey, and I was there for 6 years and worked with some great players and great staff, and then made the jump to pro hockey and was able to work with Todd Reardon and come to the Pittsburgh Penguin organization, and it's been a great experience.
Now, you said a lot of words in there, like compassion, philosophy, teachings, what it taught you. These are the kind of things that I think young people who come to the games, parents or your fans, what do you mean by compassion? What do you mean what it taught you? What do you mean about the philosophies? Explain those things to me.
Well, I think when, you know, in the game, you know, we all see what happens on the ice, but you know, part of getting players to be able to execute the way they want to, be able to reach their potential, to maybe go beyond areas that they didn't think they could get to. You know, they're human beings and they're people. So it comes down to, you know, your ability to create relationships and understand who they are as a person. Then it's, you know, how do they learn? How do you teach? And you know, that's really what coaching is developing relationships with people and understanding, you know, how you can get a person that's at point A to be able to get to point C. Through multiple methods, and one of those is through relationships, teaching, and learning.
Your lifestyle, how did that change? You know, you're married, and you have 3 children, I understand.
Yes.
And what are their names?
3 daughters. So I got Sophia's my oldest, Julia's the second, and then we just had a newborn, Anna, this summer, who's about a month old. So
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're going to have to fight for the bathroom.
Safe to say I'm outnumbered at home 4-1.
You're done. Okay, you're finished. Well, I wish you the best. So having a family, okay, and you know, you said you have values, okay. What values? I mean, we go to a hockey game and we see, like you said, you see the hockey players coming out, and then all of a sudden, you know, you see them bashing themselves against the head, and you know, it's all this, you know, saying, well, what values are there, okay? What values did you bring from hockey into your life? You said your father was a hockey player?
Father played hockey,
okay,
yep.
And so you lived in that, right?
Yep.
And so tell us a little bit about how it was living with a dad who was in hockey. Did he come home, you know, upset sometimes, smashing things, or was he a compassionate father? What did it do for him?
Yeah, you know, it's 2 things. I think one of the things that you grew up with and you understand coaching, that, you know, hockey and life are interrelated. A lot of things that you learn through the game, your work ethic, your competitiveness, having to work hard to accomplish things, having to overcome adversity. Those are all things that happen in daily life. Whether it's you're driving down the highway and you have a flat tire, is it you're gonna get all emotional about it, or the task is you have to find a way to get yourself going and get the car going and be able to continue to where you go. So, values are really work ethic, accountability, and passion. And I think when you bring those things into your life, if you're passionate about what you do and something that you love, whether it's coaching or playing, that's always going to be able to drive you. And then you want to be able to, you've got to have a strong work ethic, and that's something, growing up was instilled in my parents, was that you have to work for everything that you get, and regardless of your talent or what's given to you, there always has to be a certain amount of work that goes in to reach a high level. And then accountability is just accountability for your actions, whether that's your off-ice actions, your behavior away from the rink, or on the ice. You have to be accountable for what you do.
And that's a key question today. In sports, I think sometimes people just go a little too far and destroy the value of the sports. Okay, we like to have have a lot of fun at a sports areas. Or whatever games you go and see. But sometimes you see things in sports that are really unprofessional, send the wrong message. As a coach, what do you bring to your team players? Because they're sending a message, okay? And if my young child who is 5 or 6 wants to become a hockey player, do I really want to see them do that? Or what message do you tell your team players?
Well, I think you have to be able to, one of the biggest things, whether you're, a parent in youth hockey, you're a coach in youth hockey, you're a player, is you have to be able to control your emotions, because in sports you can get so emotional, winning and losing, a bad call by a referee, a tough loss, but you have to be able to remain consistent in your behavior and have a consistent mindset of never getting too high or too low. When you have success, you can't get too high, because you have to continue to get better and get going, and when you lose or things don't go your way, usually they're not as bad as you think they are. You just have to find a way to continue to get better in those areas. And that's something that, as a team we talk a lot about, but, as a coach, that's one of the things we really believe in as a coaching staff, is that you never want to be too high or too low. You want to be able to take the end results, whatever they may be, good or bad, and take the lessons from it and then continue to move on.
And that's the interesting thing about being a coach, because sometimes you have to be a psychologist, you have to be a priest, you have to be a rabbi, you have to be a minister, you have to be a counselor.
That's true.
I mean, you have to do that, and you need to know when to do that, okay? Because you have some people that will go off the far end. And so with training, 36 years old, did you have an idol in this in the hockey leagues?
No, I never really had an idol. It was whether it was sports teams or it was more that I followed people that I admired, but it wasn't one person that I really idolized. It was either good teams or good organizations or good coaches or a good player. And what I tried to do was not really idolize, but what makes this person successful? What habits make them successful? And that's something as a young person in college and then early in my coaching career, I really tried to study not just hockey coaches, but maybe the best basketball coaches or football coaches or the best teams and organizations, and tried to find out what attributes or what things made them successful, and then tried to incorporate those into a philosophy that you gain as a coach as you continue to mature.
Where do you want to go from here?
One of the things I've done wherever I've been is I really believe you have to live in the present, and you have to do the best job that you can in the job that you're in, and that's really what I focus on, because I really enjoy what I'm doing here, and that's one of the things I think I've tried to do is be in situations that I enjoy. If my family is happy and my family enjoys where we're at, and that's great. That's the most important priority in my life, is if they're in a place that they enjoy and they like, and they do here in Wilkes-Barre. And as a coach, it's if you're working with good people every day and you're in an organization or an environment that gives you a chance to win and gives you resources to have success, and that's what we have here. So for me, is I just want to do the best job that I can do here, and I don't know where that road is going to lead, whether that's the National Hockey League or maybe it's in Wilkes-Barre for 5 years. I don't know what it is, but the one thing I do know is I want to do the best job I can here and see where that takes me. And
you bring an interesting point up. As we're airing this show, we're going to air this throughout the state of Pennsylvania, so we'll have people from Philadelphia, Allentown, or whatever. Northeastern Pennsylvania, is I've been born and raised here. I love it here. I think the people in Northeastern Pennsylvania are great, but of course I'm a native. Your perspective of what the people are here, what you see in the fans. And you said, if my family's here, and hold that thought. Folks, I'm talking to John Hynes, who is the head coach of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, and we're right here at the Cole Street facility where they practice in Wilkes-Barre. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show. Folks, remember 24/7, you can watch any of our The Sam Lesante shows 24/7 on ssptv.com. I'm here today interviewing John Hynes, who is the head coach of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins here at the Cole Street Ice Rink in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, talking about northeastern Pennsylvania. As I said prior to the break, I was born and raised here. I had the good fortune of traveling with actor Jack Palance. We did many things throughout the entire country and loved being in different places in LA, New York, Hawaii, and wherever we went, but always wanted to come back to where I live here. Now, you not being a native here, how do you see this?
Oh, it's a great place. You know, when I accepted the job, I had never been to Wilkes-Barre. I accepted the job sight unseen, and you know, one of the things, my wife went to school at the University of Pittsburgh, so she was fairly familiar with, you know, Pennsylvania area and things, and she absolutely loved it. So when we were talking about discussing moving our family here, you know, she was really upbeat and excited about it, and now that we're here, it's great. My family really enjoys it. You know, there's some great things to do with the family as far as tons of amusement parks and beaches and things to do in the off season for us. You know, but I think the people are great. You know, it's a hardworking blue collar community here that is you know, something I think, you know, I believe in as a person and as a coach, and you know, we really enjoy it as a family. It's not only a lot of things to do, but the people are down to earth. The people are nice. And we've, you know, in our short time here, in 3 years, we've developed some great friendships with people and really enjoyed here.
What's your wife's name?
Sarah.
So Sarah, when John comes in and she was at a game, does he sit down and say, you know, John, listen, don't get upset, but this is what I think you should have done?
Yeah. You know, it's a funny relationship we have because we're both coaches. She played Division I volleyball at University of Pittsburgh, and then she was a Division I college coach. So she never does that because she coaches. So one of the best things that I have is that, you know, she really understands what it's like to be a coach. She understands, I think, when things don't go well, that, you know, sometimes to be able to come home and not have to deal with that is probably the best thing.
Let me ask you this. What is your typical day like? So tell me from the morning, you know, when you come into this place and you have to deal with the players and you have a game, what do you do? Give me a day in the life of John Hynes.
Yeah, sure. We usually get in about 7 o'clock in the morning as a coaching staff, and we try to get there a couple hours before the players. So they usually have to be here at 9 o'clock for a 10 o'clock practice. So we get organized for practice, any video or individual meetings we want to have with the players. We like to have the environment ready and awake and alive when the players get here. So it's almost like when they come into a classroom or school that, you know, the lights are on, the teachers are there, there's something up on the board, there's a schedule. So when they come in here, the coffee's on, that they come in and there's life to the environment that they're coming to. And that's one of the big things that we try to create on practice and game days. Then usually we'll have some type of a team meeting at 9:30 to either go over a game plan or our practice, or we might just talk about things that are going on with our team. But we try to have one get together with the guys, and then we usually practice at 10 o'clock or 10:30, somewhere in around there. And we practice for about an hour to hour and 15 minutes as a team. And then after that, the coaches, we really go into some individual things. We might work with particular players on one-on-one skills off the ice. It might be an individual video meeting, or we're just talking to a guy about life. But we try to meet with 3 or 4 guys individually every day to just touch base with them throughout the week as it goes on. And then in the afternoon, once the players leave, they usually leave around 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1:30, somewhere around there. Then it really gets into game planning, preparing for the other opponent, organizing our video, and it's a lot of administrative work in the afternoon till, you know, usually about 5 or 6 o'clock, and then we get prepared for the next day, and then we're usually gone at 5 or 6 in the evening if it's a non-game day. If it's a game day, then we usually stay there all day, and then the players come back, and then we usually play at 7 o'clock.
How much strategy goes into this game for your opponents? Okay, you know, you're going to play this team. Okay, what does a coach do knowing about that team? What do you do? I don't want to tell all your secrets, but I mean, you know, the strategic planning here.
Yeah, you know, every level that you go up, you're always going against tougher coaches, and the coaches in the American League are difficult. So pre-scouting is a huge component to our coaching staff, that we want to make sure we're prepared for everything that we're going to face, because a lot of times coaches will change certain things, or face-off plays, or special teams. So for us as a coaching staff, we spend an extraordinary amount of time. We'll break a game down 2 to 3 hours of our opposition, and maybe 2 to 3 of their most recent games, but we'll only present a small amount of that to the players. If there happens to be a change or a common theme that we think will help us in the game, we'll show it to them. But it's more for the coaching staff and our knowledge as the game goes on and our opponent than it is for the players.
So John Hynes has a game plan for tonight's game, and it's all set. Game starts, and things are not going the way you like them. Okay, what do? You run out, you call Sarah, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, I look in the stands and
say, Sarah, can you come down and help me a little bit?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, because a lot of times that happens.
Yes. So what do you do?
A lot of times we'll adjust. We'll try to make slight tweaks. The first thing before you make changes is, where is our team at? I would always go to our mentality. Are we slow? Are we overexcited? Are we underexcited? Are we fatigued? Where is our mental state of our group? And that's the first thing you try to change. And that could either be through emotion from the coach. It could be maybe sitting a guy out. It could be maybe getting on a ref to get the team realizing that, geez, coach is ready to go. We got to get going. So that's the first thing. And after that, then I think you assess, line combinations, where the guys are playing, and then if you have to adapt your system, we do have that. We might make a slight tweak to how we're going to forecheck, or how we're going to play in the D zone, or what we're going to do. So there's multiple things you can change, and that's the exciting thing about coaching, is that you have to be adaptable and flexible every game.
I'm talking to John Hynes, folks, who's the head coach of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, and when we come back, let's talk about that mojo. When does John Hynes say, I got to go out there and scream at that ref, I got to get some kind of fight going, I got to get these things going, I got to get tucks out there, I got to do something to get this game going? Right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, watch us on ssptv.com 24/7. All of our programs are there, and we're very happy to tell you, folks, we're hitting over 650,000 hits. And my guest today is John Hynes. Now, he's the head coach of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, and we're here at their practice facility at Cole Street, the ice rink. Now, okay, you were talking about, you see the game's not going the way it is, the excitement's not there. Do you, at one point in time, because I know I'm talking to Coach Madden when he's on my show, when you say once in a while, he says, Sam, I got to go out there and say, look, I got to yell at the umpire, because I got to get something going, and saying, look, whatever I say, disregard what I'm saying, I just got to scream at you, okay? I got to get my fans going. What do you do?
Yeah, it's there's not one thing that I do. A lot of times you try to, and you can't do the same thing all the time. So sometimes it could be, maybe something goes on. You might call the ref over and tell him, hey, I understand your call, but I got to show my team that we're trying to fix things or trying to get some things going, or so it's really, you have to take into account all the factors of the crowd, of your team, of the attitude, of the atmosphere, and then there's multiple things you can do. It's just the key in coaching is, the hard part of coaching is finding that right button to push at the right time. Now,
speaking about pushing the right button, what about these guys out there in the front and say, look, there's a strong guy out there, this strong guy here, and all of a sudden they're in a fight, okay? Because you go to a hockey game and say, boy, we saw a good fight last night. Yeah. Not what a good game, but did you see it? I mean, so what is it? Now here you are sitting there and seeing your guys pounding each other out. What do you say? What do you do?
Well, it's one of the things that's kind of understood in the game that there's players that play that role on every team, and a lot of times in the game, those guys have a job to do. So they might be creating that emotion. They might be trying to change the momentum of a game, or trying to intimidate the other team. So it is part of the game. And part of coaching is putting the right players on the ice at the right time and in the right situations. And so a lot of times that's something that you have to manage as a coach. But it is an exciting part of the game, and you have to have a lot of respect for the players that go out and do that, because that's the toughest job in hockey.
Well, when is enough though? I mean, like, when do you see something that really, when you really see a person that really hurts somebody intentionally? Okay, what do you do then? What does a coach say then?
Well, I think as a coach, you're responsible for your team's actions, and I think that you want to play hard, you want to play aggressive. That's what the game dictates, and that's what the game is. But you don't want to cross the line, and that's certain things that there's times as a coach where maybe the other team wants to get into a fight, or they want to mix things up, and you want to tell your team maybe it's not the right situation for your group, or you feel that maybe one of your players was in a fight the night before and his hand's bothering him, and he's not going to be able to have success. So as a coach, you want to take care of your guys and manage the situations that you put them in. So as a coach, you know, oftentimes we may tell a guy, you know, we don't need you to do that tonight, or we don't want you to do that tonight. Or you might tell your team, we just have to take it in this situation because this gives us the best chance to have success.
And so how do you get that message across to the youth then? Okay, that even though you saw something and it went over above the call of duty here, okay, and you as a coach have to set the record straight, okay, that could be a difficult job sometimes because you're dealing with emotions at the time.
Yeah.
So either you do it after the game or you wait till the next day when things are calmed down and say, Sam, come here, we have to talk about this last night. This wasn't, you know, do you ever do those kind of things?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we'll talk with our players, you know, about certain situations if we don't, you know, if we think they stepped over the line. And, you know, for us, you know, we do take that into account because, you know, particularly here in Wilkes-Barre, we do have a good following and young kids, and we want to make sure that we're doing things the right way. And we will address that with particular players. But exactly as you said, it's when the emotion is taken out of the moment is when we'll address it.
Well, John, I could just say this. I got to tell you that my son and my daughter-in-law are avid fans of the Penguins. I got to tell you that, you know, being the young coach, you bring a lot to this team. I really wish you well. And the team players, your team is great. They bring a lot of credibility to Northeastern Pennsylvania. You're doing a great job. You did a great job last year. I think this year will have a success, and I'm glad that we're on the Sam Lesante Show.
Great, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me. It was excellent.
Folks, John Hynes, he's the head coach here for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. If you haven't been to their games, go to their games. You'll have a great time. We'll see you next time.